Good morning. Welcome to Shining Mountain Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful Kalispell, Montana, where the sun is shining today. We are so lucky to live in this beautiful area. And we're so lucky to have you all with us this morning. We're glad you chose to share some time with us. Those of you who are present in the sanctuary, and those of you who are joining us online, welcome, welcome. Before we start, I have some housekeeping things. One is if you don't have a name tag, I believe there's a sheet of paper on the back table. If you put your name on it, next week you'll have a name tag when you get here. Also on the back table are prayer request forms, and we love to pray here. So if you have something that's heavy on your heart, or if you have something you want us to celebrate with you, if you fill out one of those prayer request forms and put it in the prayer box, Reverend Yvonne and I will pray with you all week. You can sign it or not sign it. The choice is yours. And also on that back table are some forms. If you are not on our mailing list and would like to be, just fill one of those out and put it in the offering basket, and we will see that you get added to our mailing list. That being said, again, I'm so grateful that you all could join us this morning, and we have some music for you.
Believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. We don't know what's coming. We can't help shape what's ahead. With kindness as our currency, the Commonwealth is in our hands. So give a little, oh, give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go around. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness, kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, power of love. I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Listen up now, people. Keep your ear to the ground. We are the river flowing. Generosity abounds. So give a little, oh, give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. sweetness, only to help the world bloom. Bringing love to the flower, from the flower to the fruit, we can learn a thing or two. So give a little, oh, give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. I believe in the power. I believe in the power of kindness. Power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Oh, in the power. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of
Truly, we do believe in the power of love, don't we? And we love our children. And so at this time in our service, we get to bless our children as well as the children of the world and the child within each one of us. So if you would please join me in this blessing for the children. We see you, who you really are, made in the image and likeness of God. We cherish you, we support you, and we love you. And so from this place of love, let's move within, acknowledging our oneness with the divine, knowing truly there is only one life, and that life is God, and that life is good. And acknowledging that each one of us are individual expressions of that goodness, individual expressions of love, individual expressions of God. We know that God is light and love and peace and joy and abundance. We know that God is health and wholeness. We know there is absolutely nothing outside of God. God permeates all things. It's in its essence that we live and breathe and have our being. We cannot be separate from the divine. So as I speak my word this day, I speak it knowing truly that as we move through this day and through the ensuing week, we move through it easily, effortlessly, and joyfully, strengthened and supported by the divine. I know that the love that is us shines forth to all we meet. I know that each and every person with whom we come in contact, we recognize the God within them, the light and the love and the peace and the joy that they are. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity that we have to come together in love. I am grateful for the opportunity that we have to share with one another. I am grateful for this community. I am grateful for the powerful presence of Spirit within each and every one of us as I release this word now to the perfect working of the perfect law that always and only says yes. Please join me in affirming, and so it is. Amen.
Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love.
and sing it with us. I mean, that is so beautiful. So, Audie, if you would like to do your reading now.
Lift your gaze is the subject of this, and relax and let go of what you're defending or holding on to. Free yourself from downward spiral and rise above it. Stop looking down and getting dragged into emotionally involved with the gloomy forecast of the senses. If you hadn't noticed, this kind of vision doesn't dispel the gloomy predictions. This sensory-supported vision only augments and exacerbates the worldly challenged. Lift your gaze to the invitation of what's possible rather than adding your energy to what you no longer want in your life. If you feel guilt, release it. If you feel fear, release it. If you feel discouraged, disgraced, or angry, release it. You can defend it and keep it, or let it go and rise above it. That's from Living from the Mountaintop, Reverend Christian Sorensen.
Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love.
Sing along, everybody, come on.
Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love.
Thank you, Don, and thank you, Audie, and thank you, Red Star, for the music. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have to say, it felt like you were just a tad bit reserved this morning. Just a tad bit. I mean, we are in a place and a space and under the shelter of each other and the love of each other that we could have stood up and danced if we wanted to. Not all over the place, mind you, but you know what I'm saying? And I absolutely love, though, that you would join in and sing, because we do believe in the power of kindness, and we do believe in the power of love. And we do believe in the power of loving each other and providing that space for each other where we can be our authentic, marvelous selves in expression as the one of the one. Yeah, we get to be who we are. So it's wonderful to be here with you. As the Rabbi Noah Weinberg said, the entire world is God's message of love. The entire world is God's message of love. And so I want to start out, though, this morning talking about, we all know what's happening on the East Coast and what's happening with the communities that have been hit by and devastated by and affected by the Hurricane Ian. I want to talk about that today because, first of all, to recognize that everyone that is there is experiencing something that was not expected, in the sense of I can see something, but to actually experience it is a whole different thing. I can hear about something, but to actually experience it is a whole different thing. So we want to send our love and our blessings and our strength and our peace and our knowingness of God is everywhere present and always, always giving of itself to that entire area and to everyone affected. And then we want to go on and go beyond that and out to the world. But I'm just going to talk about that just a little bit today, because I think about the people that are down there who are faced with whatever the consequence of this storm has been to them and to their community. And I know that they are filled with a strength and a power and a hope and an idea of moving through that. I know that. I know it comes to us because that's the natural human instinct, is to have hope for something better, to move through things, to move out of the fear and to move into things. But we're going to support them from our wealth, the wealth that we have inside of us and the wealth that we have around us. That's what I want to talk about today, is the wealth that we are carrying. And what is wealth? What is the definition of wealth? Well, it means an abundance of something, doesn't it? It means excess of something. It means having more than we need, wealth. So we can look outside and see, for instance, this morning, I had the experience of a wealth of bugs. I opened the door, and this rain of bugs came down onto my head, and it was like, and all over the floor, and I'm like, holy my goodness, I couldn't even count them. And I'm opening the door, and I'm looking on the outside, and there's more than I could ever begin to count. That is a wealth of bugs, more than I needed, right? And what we're going to look at, though, is the wealth of the universe, and that is both inside of us, which is strength and harmony and peace, and it's how we do life, right? With this wealth of goodness that is inside of us, as well as this wealth of goodness that is around us. So we know the universe is infinitely abundant, and it's always flowing. This universal energy is always flowing. It's always giving of itself. It's always expressing. There's no lack or limitation in our universe. And so when we come up against these things that are huge and challenging to us, whether they're actually in our experience or the experience in the greater world, we have this universal energy that's flowing through this wealth, this abundance of universal energy that flows to us, through us, supports us, surrounds us, that we can tap into as we experience whatever it is that's right in front of us. So the first thing I want to talk about today is recognizing that God is, and looking at this infinite source that God is. God is the infinite source. It's the nature of life and expression, and we want to look at how we interact with it effectively, so that we are tapping into this wealth of life, tapping into this abundance of goodness, and tapping into this unlimited potential for greater good. And we know that the abundance can be of life can be bring us immense joy or immense struggles. And probably both at different times. So we have to begin with the awareness the infinite source is behind the energy that flows everywhere into all. So we begin at the beginning, infinite source with infinite source, recognizing there's one power, one energy, there's one thing that is behind all things. And it's also within us. That abundance of life is also within us. And how do we get an idea of this, the bigness of this, the largeness of this, the power of this? We have to contemplate it. I believe that everything begins with contemplation. And we can either contemplate what looks like problems and troubles and lack and limitations, or we can contemplate abundance and flow. We can contemplate what we need to do in order to move through the problems and the limitations. We must contemplate this, and in order to contemplate it, we must believe that there is something else that could be, a power that's greater than we are, that can move us and guide us through this. And when we contemplate something, it's like we open up this reservoir within us. Open up this space within us, this mystery, place of mystery that allows the imagination then, allows us to imagine, the imagination to be free so that we can imagine something different. How are we going to clean this up? How are we going to rebuild? How are we going to gather together? How are we going to currently feed? How are we going to currently bring water and energy into places that need it? That is where the imagination, given freedom from fear, will move us into a new idea. And that's what the universe is trying to do, is express through us. And one of the things that is considered the wealth of the universe is our ideas. Our ideas. There's unlimited ideals and ideas. And the ideal becomes the idea, and then the idea comes into manifestation, or substance, comes into form, comes into movement. And during this time, and even going back to the pandemic, we've had to have a metanoia. We've had to have a change of mind. We've had to let go of what we have expected and expand ourselves, expand our minds, and have a new perspective of the world, right? We have to have a new perspective of the world and of life. And this happens so often through a huge catastrophic experience of happening. But it's also it's the same out here in the world as it is within. Here's how we tap into our wealth, our inner wealth. And by the way, wealth, I saw was described as, it can be, what do we think of when we think of wealth? We think of, I often hear of money, right? Or social. There's five types of wealth. It's financial, social, physical, mental, and time. So going past the financial, we know what that is. That's money and assets and stuff. Social would be our relationships. We have a wealth of relationships we can tap into to help us to either create things or support things or move through things. We have a wealth of relationships. And then when we look at our health, if we have breath within us, we have something to give thanks for. It's like that story I told you a week or two ago about the farmer who had the horse and they had the son and all of that. And every time something bad happened, remember, it was a Chinese proverb, and it was like, oh, that's too bad. Maybe or maybe not. You know, it's the perspective we put on things. It's how we see things. But with our health, we have the physical health, and then we have our spiritual health. And the spiritual health is the wealth that we will touch into, tap into, to experience and know our physical health, and to know our relationship health, the health of our relationships, and to know where we're at with our lives as it is moving forward. And one of the things that we know about the wealth of time is it gives us freedom. It gives us freedom. Now, most of us decide what we want to spend our time on, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if we're working, we have time away from work, and we determine what we want to spend our time on. Well, what happens is we determine what has value to us, and that's what we then choose to spend our time on or not, but it's our choice. And so when we are looking at what is going on in the world around us, we must remember we are very wealthy people. We are a very wealthy community. We have within us a wealth that can support anything that's going on in our world. Anything and everything that's going on in our world. And you'll know you're wealthy when you use your wealth. But you won't know you're wealthy if you don't use it. If you don't use your time to create and support and do that which makes your life better and the world around you better, then you're squandering your wealth. If you put all your money, we'll go to money, if you put all your money in the bank and you live out of poverty and you live constricted and you're afraid to spend a dime and yet your account gets bigger and bigger, you are not wealthy. You are poor of spirit. If you've been hurt by love, you loved someone and they hurt you. And so now we know what to do after we've been hurt by love. We shut it down. Oh no, I'm not going to take a chance again. I'll never trust another whatever. No. That means we're poor of spirit again. To be wealthy in relationship means that we give that which we are freely, without expectations. We want to be treated well, we'll be treated well, or we remove ourselves from the situation. We want to experience unconditional love, which means you accept me just as I am, and I accept you just as you are. And I can recognize you as the power of love and expression. Unconditional love doesn't accept everything and call it good. Unconditional love doesn't see good and bad. It just is. It just is. It just is. And if you're like me, I have lots of opportunities to do it better. I have lots of opportunities to do it better. Man, and I can justify exactly why I wouldn't want to do it better, come from that higher place. But it's never satisfying anymore. It's not satisfying. It doesn't bring me that peace and that relief. And I don't know the wealth of spirit within me when I'm acting from that lower idea of right and wrong. Thich Nhat Hanh said this, and I love this. It's so beautiful for contemplation. He said, every view is the wrong view when it's held as the only view that is the true view. Every view is the wrong view when it's held as the only view, when it's held as the only view that's the true view. So here we are sitting with ideas, and if we have it stuck in our heads and therefore stuck on our hearts, not in our hearts, but on our hearts, that we are right and they are wrong, we're holding a view that doesn't allow for unconditional love to embrace it. We're holding an idea, but we're also holding out other expansion of that idea and others who would come with the expression of a different idea or expanding that idea. So the divine mind is the one and only reality. And as we contemplate not right and wrong, but as we contemplate, this is what I think, but I don't know that for an absolute, but it is what I think. As we contemplate that, we allow for a greater space of knowing beyond what we have called the view, the right view versus the wrong view. We're told to seek the kingdom first, and the kingdom is within us. That is the wealth we carry. That is the promise that we were given. So we want to, we want to allow, and if we're going to allow infinite abundance and the wealth of the universe to express through us, we have to have a real healthy understanding of our relationship to it and what the nature of the divine is. We have to have a good understanding of that. And what it is, it's first of all, we want to understand it's not personal. It isn't what we'll earn. It isn't what we'll learn. It just is. It's not personal. The divine is not personal in the sense of you qualify, but you don't. No, we all qualify. We've all been blessed. We've all been anointed. There is nothing and no one that hasn't been. So when we consider this kind of oneness, then we can say to ourselves, any idea we might have had of a God that was judgmental, and a God whose favor we had to earn, or a God that was available only to this person or that, might possibly be an erroneous belief. We can contemplate what we have called truth or the right view and know that and allow ourselves the opportunity to have a new perspective, a new way of thinking. Thomas Troward said that the universe creates by contemplating itself. The universe creates by contemplating itself. And in Science of Mind, we say we become what we think about. We become what we think about. So we want to be really clear what we're allowing our thoughts to be and the course they're taking and where we're directing our energy. The ancient metaphysical philosopher Plotinus reminds us, I do not argue, I contemplate, and as I contemplate, I let fall the seeds of thought into the mirror of mind, which then becomes the mirror of matter. He's saying we contemplate, what we fill our mind with, eventually will show up in our lives as matter. It becomes the mirror of matter, our thoughts do. So it behooves us to contemplate not lack, limitation, and struggle, but ease and grace and plenty. And then we determine, how do we step into these? How do we give forth of this, from this ease and grace and plenty? And we aren't fighting ourselves, and we don't need to fight the world. We just need to bring ourselves into an alignment with Spirit, with God, with one. And this too will carry us forth. You know, when we get a cut in our body, say you get a cut on your hand, it just isn't an isolated cut. The red blood cells rush to it, and your body just rushes to take care of this cut. Everything within you rushes to meet this cut. And that's what we do as a community. That's what we do as humanity. Something horrible happens. We can go back to 9/11 and we rush forward. We bring forth our time. We give people our time, our talent, and our treasures to help move them through this and rise up out of it. And we know what that feels like, to share our wealth of love, of goodness, of money, of time. We know what that feels like. But we won't know if we don't know that we are absolutely connected to the source, to source. Not the source of, but source. When we establish ourselves in the consciousness of God, the whole universe moves to flow into us with its abundance, its light, and its grace. When we connect ourselves in that consciousness of spirit, we are power-filled. We are creative, and we are life. So as we move into our week, let us remember that we carry within us all that we are giving to the world. We carry the love within us. We carry the wholeness of life within us. We carry the light. And so in that place of power, from that place of power, from that place of knowing there's one life, God in all of its creation, God as all of its creation. Let us bless ourselves and bless one another. Let us send our blessings out to the children. Let us send our blessings to the families who've been affected by this storm of all storms. To the communities that have been absolutely devastated. And let us move into that space of knowing that it is not contained by lack. It is not contained by fear. That space is uncontainable. It goes forever. It is life. It is spirit. And it goes beyond our borders. Our blessings go beyond our borders, beyond these United States. It goes across the world, across the oceans, across the mountains. We send our love. We send blessings of peace and blessings of grace and blessings of wisdom and blessings for safety. And as we are called to, we will determine what part is ours to do. And may we know that whatever it is that we are called to do, we know that we are part of a larger energy of love, a larger energy of wholeness, that we are contributing to it, but we are not apart from it, but we are in it. We are in this thing called life. We're on this path this highway. And it's just possible that all the obstacles are the pavement, become the pavement for this highway of life. May we go forth graciously. May we go forth with forgiving hearts. May we go forth with appreciation and gratitude from our hearts and our minds. May we go forth not to fight, but to embrace. May we lay down our arms of destruction and put out our arms of welcome. May we know this is the day, and within us we have the wisdom of the way. And we will do this together. And so it is. Amen.
From the earth to the sun, we are one, like the stars in the night. We are light, like the wind upon the sea. We are free, like the below and above. We are the servants of love. From the earth to the sun, we are one, like the stars in the night. We are the light, like the wind upon the sea. We are free, from below and above. We are the servants of love.
From the earth to the sun, we are one,
like the stars in the night.
we are light,
like the wind upon the sea. We are free,
Red Star and Audie for sharing your gift with us again this week. So we've come to that time in our service where we get to put into practice the law of circulation. For those of you who are joining us online, if you choose to donate, you can go to our website, www.cslkalispell.com, and there's a place there that you can donate. For those of you in the sanctuary, there is a basket on the back table, and I'd like to ask you now to take your tithe, your gift, your offering, not only in your hand, but in your heart, and join me in this prayer of spiritual giving and receiving. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. And just a reminder, next week, Reverend Dr. Christian Sorensen will be joining us. Again this year, he comes and visits us annually. And we want to welcome him back. He's the spiritual leader for Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. And we're excited that he's going to be here with us next Sunday. So be sure and come and hear him speak. It's really worth your time. So, that being said, I wish to thank everyone who's joined us online. We love you, we bless you, and we hope you come back and join us again. And thank you.